though I already started reading before, but I just had to, okay? It gets too good when you get down. May I ask a strange question? Coming from anyone else, the question would have sent Simon to immediate flight. But coming from Wendo Tornado, there weren't many questions that could be seen as normal to begin with. Simon was at his desk. Working as a Wendo was perched on top of the desk to Simon's side, legs dangling but sitting utterly still and straight as though the seat were perfectly dignified. To some extent, that spoke for itself. You may, Simon replied as he looked up from the paperwork in front of him. How do you do the thing you do? Wendo asked. You'll have to be more specific, Simon answered stiffly. The thing, Wendo said, gesturing to what looked like a frisbee toss. In the courtroom. I've seen you slice the objects in front of you, but you can't carry a blade in the courthouse, so what's going on? Simon. Jimin. Hey, I remember those. Simon smirked. Leijutsu, the art of drawing a katana, Wendo finished. Simon looked at them in surprise. Sorry, they said. Rude of me to cut in like that. No, I simply didn't realize you knew the term. Uendo shrugged. There's a rakugo routine I saw once about a person trying to learn Leijutsu. I haven't performed that one myself. It's still very cutting edge. Simon felt a small, charmed smile spread on his face. Basic Leijutsu deals strictly in the manners of dealing a katana. But some samurai discovered they could perform Leijutsu with such force and precision that they could strike at their enemies without even bludgeoning their own blade. And eventually, Simon tapped his forehead. Eventually, they developed the technique to do so without even holding a physical katana. Wendo watched Simon's hands as he spoke. This is a good sign. This is rated either G or teen, by the way. Just making sure. Very neat, they said, and it's fun knowing that you've learned to be a cut above the rest. Simon chuckled and returned to his paperwork. It took a diligent effort. I appreciate seeing you take such an interest in turn, Uendo. Uendo peered down at the page Simon was scribbling on. When will you be done filling that out? Eager for our dinner appointment, are you? More eager for you to hand off your work to your boss. Simon trained a suspicious eye on them. Why? How precise can you be with your Leijutsu? I don't like where this is going, Uendo. Let me cut to the chase then, Uendo said with a grin. I want to see if you can lop a lock off the chief prosecutor's hair. Why in the blazes would I consider doing such a thing? Simon glared at Uendo, feeling a bit alarmed that the idea had even occurred to them. Let's see. Uendo pretended to think very carefully about their answer. Because it'd be a gift I'd cherish full of my days, because I know you'd get a good laugh out of it, because I asked you to, because you can. All compelling reasons, I grant you, Simon said as he signed the second to last page of his stack of papers. And because I'm daring you to do it. Simon paused. Excuses? Linda grabbed Simon's shoulder and pushed him back slightly, leaning over him. I said, I triple, Uendo began. Their facial expression and posture shifted. Dog, Patches continued, before he bowed his head. Dare you, Kisagawa finished, smiling darkly into Simon's eyes. Simon blinked several times, trying to process what had just played out in front of him. You think, he said, that if the three of you team up to challenge me in such a juvenile way, to endanger my position as a prosecutor just to get a trophy for you, that I'll accept it? And this is where I cut off, because honestly, I had to record this. I do, Wendo said as they returned to the front. Simon scowled at them for several seconds. Then his face broke into a gentle smile. You're so right. Anyone who had only seen Simon or only a Wendo as the two of them will walk up to the chief prosecutor's office would not have thought that anything was amiss. They both walked calmly, slowly, eyes trained forward, wearing faces that didn't portray any questionable intentions. Right, because one's a psychology major / prosecutor, and the other one is like an actor. So of course, an actor with MPD. Simon opened the door to the office, where Miles Edgeworth looked up from his desk. Good evening, Blackwell, Edgeworth said. Oh, I didn't do my Edgeworth voice. I don't have an Edgeworth voice. Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. Simon inclined his head to his boss. And you as well, Tornado. Edgeworth smiled at Wendo as he extended his hand out towards Simon for the completed report. Everything on my case is of the sake for you, Simon said, handing the papers off. What do you think of the Steel Samurai reboot, Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth narrowed his eyes at Wendo. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't know how you might assume someone in my position has time to watch such a childish show, let alone discuss it during working hours. Wendo pouted. Mr. Edgeworth, Simon put on his best deferential tone and suppressed a smirk. It is my hope that those of us in the office who are untouched by the taint of corruption can come to a place of mutual trust and understanding. Do you feel the same way? Honestly, I'm just laughing because I know what's coming. Simon may be able to hide his true intentions, but no, oh my god. Of course I do, Edgeworth answered. But why are you bringing this up? Because my partner is attempting to. Simon gestured with his hands as one does with the rest of their sentences on the tip of their tongue. He turned to Wendo. What was the phrase again? Cut ice, Wendo said. My friend partner is attempting to cut the metaphorical ice with you, Simon went on, and I believe you will have a better understanding of your subordinates after speaking to the people in their lives, especially when it comes to a topic you both take great interest in. Oh, this is some heavy BS right here. Edgeworth crossed his arms and stared daggers into Simon. He seemed to be locked in a small debate with himself. He finally faced Wendo again, eased his facial expressions, and said, I'm fond of the reboot. He bought it! Oh man. I think the choice of animation style is superb. And I swear it's a live action one. Okay. And very fitting for the tone of the show. Uendo walked to one side of the room and leaned gently against a full shelf of case files, held up by bookends. They studied Edgeworth with sharp, captivating eyes. I agree. The storyboarding is amazing. What is there that you don't like about it, then? The evil magistrate, Edgeworth shook his head. His new characterization is far too nuanced. It's a complete departure from his depictions in the past. Oh, you're one of those. I can't believe the show is changing. It evolves in time. I don't have a word for you. I'll have to disagree with you there, because I think that's an improvement, Wendo said. Oh, wrong voice. I feel the evil magistrate was a bit of a cut and paste villain. Then you don't understand the point of the character. The evil magistrate stood for a brazenly corrupt authority. There is no moral middle ground where such figures are concerned. Wendo nodded. I get that. It's like the depiction of the magistrate as someone who's only cut from a different cloth than everyone else. Edgeworth was about to concede the legitimacy of Wendo's point of view, but something behind him had turned to distract him. He turned to the window. Is there a draft in here? Just then, as the window tried to see what Edgeworth was looking at, their elbow collided with the bookend, knocking it out of place and releasing several binders of case files outward in each floor. Uendo caught what they could, preventing anything from actually falling off the shelf, but not able to get everything back in place. As soon as he saw this, Edgeworth stood up and stepped briskly to Uendo's side. Let me help you. The two of them wrangled This is so set up. They did this on purpose. Oh, the two of them wrangled the files to get them straight again. No. That was my fault, Wendo said. I didn't mean to. Not to worry, Edward said. No harm, no foul. Wendo looked back at Simon, who had scooped up the lock of hair that had fallen to the ground behind his boss's chair, and was holding up proudly for Wendo to see. Simon hid the hair behind his back before Edgeworth turned around. Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth, I do hate to interrupt the formation of this newfound rapport, but Wendo and I have a dinner reservation shortly. Oh, is it that time already? Wendo feigned surprise. I guess we should get going then. It was good to talk to you, Miss Edgeworth. I'll be back next week to talk about the newest episode with you, okay? Of course, Edgeworth said, as he saw the two of them leave his office door. I hope you two have a nice time. They waved to the chief prosecutor and walked out. When he closed the door behind them, they met each other with his eyes and grinned. Brilliant, Wendo said, motioning for them to keep walking down the hall. That was spectacular! They reached in their sleeve for the small sealable plastic baggie and took a lock of platinum hair from Simon and put it away, tucking the baggie away. I'm framing this, you know. Man. Okay. I expected that you would, Simon replied. Oh, wrong voice. You performed that part flawlessly. Nothing compared to what you pulled off, Wendo said in admiration. You just used advanced martial arts to cut a piece of your boss's hair without touching him. You know how amazing that is, right? They held their forearm out in front of them with their palm facing up. I have to give you a hand for that. Simon chuckled affectionately. He accepted Wendo's hand in as they walked out into the calm spring evening. Damn! Oh my gosh! Like, imagine, like, okay, I want to do that now. Just like start getting my hand, just like whipping it out so fast that like I cut a piece of paper from across the room to start slicing crap. Like maybe no, I'm not gonna say that. But also, why does you know they only say it's creepy. It's not. Why is it not creepy here? Like it's not. He like Simon didn't even question. Like I know this is all out of character, and dang it, I'm saying like so much again. You know what? Never mind. The following Monday, Simon arrived at work early, intending to get a head start on a tough-looking case. He had sat his things down comfortably in his chair before he noticed the memo on the far corner of his desk. Curious, he slid it towards him and opened it. I know, Edgeworth. Fiddlesticks. Simon folded the memo and placed it aside. He hoped to win this trophy was worth it. To think that they'd actually been looking forward to discussing the latest Steel Samurai episode with Miles Edgeworth. At this rate, they might have to cut ties with him. Let's see, who wrote this one? Probably should have said this at the beginning. Cut the comedy, cteranodon. I hope I don't get into trouble for reading this, but I think they have other works, so let me just check real quick. Yeah, so phew, I am not like ruining anything. They've got like 42 other stories, and the one I read was no way, that's a lot. I don't even know what the one I read was, but you know what? If they do rare pairs, that's probably good. So, yeah, other people should probably check them out. I mean, I've only read the one, but I'm probably gonna read the other ones in my spare time.